Entertainment Tonight, the most watched entertainment news program in the world.
Hello and welcome to the weekend edition of Entertainment Tonight as we reveal the surprising secrets of one of TV's most successful sitcoms. I'm Mark Steinitz.
And I'm Julie Moran. Its candy-coated sweetness made it an easy target for the critics, but Full House defied the odds. Still, not all was as perfect as the star's perky TV personas would lead fans to believe.
There were problems with the house, some before the show even hit the air.
It didn't do great in the very beginning, and critics just pounding on us saying this show is just a rip-off of Three Men and a Baby.
They would say, oh, the show it's too sappy, it's too saccharine, it's not very realistic.
It was September of 1987, and although the first episode had yet to air, ABC's new sitcom about three single men raising three little girls was already taking a beating from TV critics. The day the premiere episode debuted, the LA Times called it contrived muck and proclaimed Full House isn't playing with a full deck.
The initial reviews were horrible. I remember we got a D in People magazine.
The magazine actually gave the series a D+. But that didn't do much to calm the nerves of the cast, which was already beginning to get that sinking feeling.
I remember standing backstage with John and the then president of ABC, and he came up to me and he said, "And you are?" And I said, "Dave Coulier, I'm on one of your new shows, Full House." "Oh, right." And I thought, we're in trouble. The president of the network has no idea. You know?
To make matters worse, Full House failed to find its audience during the first season, ranking an abysmal 55th place. But ABC stood behind the show, airing it twice a week during summer reruns.
And at that time, they didn't do it a lot with sitcoms to make people become familiar with them. And so then our ratings started to improve.
By the third season, the sitcom was a bona fide hit, fulfilling a dream that began in 1986 when series creator Jeff Franklin began his search for the perfect ensemble cast. Because of child labor laws, Franklin had to find twin child stars to play the show's youngest character, Michelle.
We were 9 months old when we went in for the audition, and I think when we started we were about 10, 11 months old or something. 12 months old.
Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen won the role on a lark after a family friend told their mother about what they now call their first and last audition. The rest of the details are a little fuzzy.
I don't remember. My mom asked our mom the other day what our audition was, and basically she took us in and they held us, and that's how they chose
looked
us.
at us and saw if we cried or not.
And
Look at this, it's all over my stuff. Hey, those are the ones with the little bugs on them.
The search for Michelle's older sisters ended with then 5-year-old Jodie Sweetin, who was cast as Stephanie, and Candace Cameron Bure, who auditioned for the role of DJ at age 10.
And I walked out crying because I did my reading and she was there on the phone. She went, yeah, she was okay, it's fine, we'll bring her back for a callback. And I was so upset because she said I was okay.
Candace says she did much better during her second audition, and she soon found herself working with former General Hospital hunk John Stamos, who later admitted the show didn't hit its stride until season 2.
You look at any great show, Family Ties, Cosby, it just takes a good year before a show gets going and gets good, I think.
You know how much money it's going to cost us to keep this truck for another 3 days?
Well, no, not yet, but let's crunch some numbers.
With stand-up comic Dave Coulier in as Joey Gladstone, Franklin frantically searched for an actor to play the girl's widower father, Danny Tanner. His first choice was Coulier's old friend, Bob Saget, who was unavailable because he was already working on CBS's morning program.
We had a lot of trouble casting that role. It was like right up to the last day.
After taping a pilot with another actor, Franklin's trouble ended when he found out Saget had lost his job at CBS.
And then we had to go back, reshoot the pilot, and plug Bob into all the scenes where the previous father had been.
I had to convince the network and the studio to spend another $500,000 to reshoot the original pilot.
I was so happy I had a job. You know, I was a comic out of work for about 10 years. I always was out of a job. I was so depressed.
As the show took off, Saget soon discovered its tame family humor was out of sync with his stand-up comedy roots.
I went, oh my God, I'm a funny guy. What am I doing? And I'm the cleanest guy in the world, and people are going to think I'm just some goobery, anal retentive dad that dusts all the time, and he's not funny.
Well, I'm not so sure that you should be allowed in a boy's apartment without some kind of supervision, like an armed guard.
Between takes, Saget made up for his lack of punchlines. Co-star Andrea Barber, who played next-door neighbor Kimmy Gibbler, remembers how he teamed up with Stamos and Coulier to keep their kid co-stars laughing.
Hilarious. A laugh riot 24 hours a day.
All the guys together were so funny. And even if we didn't really get the jokes, we'd still laugh because everyone else was laughing.
But sometimes the boys took things a little too far, and their jokes weren't always G-rated.
The kids were like, well, what does that mean, you know? And the moms were like, what are you doing? You can't say that.
I remember I said, hey guys, let's just take our pants off and walk around this time when we enter. So John and Bob and I, we all dropped our trowel. We walked around the corner. But I remember all three of the moms just standing there when we walked around like this. And I remember they just accosted us and said, come over here. You know what? Our kids are watching, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're getting scolded by the moms.
That kind of show serves a purpose because it's an escape.
Lori Loughlin joined the cast in 1988, and the laughter continued for 6 more seasons, until 1995, when the cast took their final bow after 8 years.
Everyone came out there and, you know, tears were flowing. And it was really sad.
We were devastated. That was like our life growing up. Like, that was what we did. And
after spending 8 years with these people, I mean, it's like you can't, you know, and having this be your everyday life, you can't really imagine not doing it. You're like, well, now what?
It's 8 years of spending time, and you either hate people or you become their family. And so we've chosen to become, family.
Academy Award for the film Through Adam's Eyes he made while in college.
He was the father figure of Full House, but it was Bob Saget's role as a brother that became important to the star in his real life.
His older sister, Gay, was stricken by a mysterious disease. Bob took her private battle and turned it into his personal crusade.
I just have a sister that passed away, and she died from this disease, scleroderma, and Lori Loughlin said, why don't you make a movie about it? So while I was still doing Full House, and I ended up making that thing that I made for Hope, which was based loosely on things that happened directly to my family.
That movie became more than just another project for Bob. For Hope, an ABC TV film that aired in 1996, was a way for the star to work through the pain his sister's death had caused him and his family.
Beautiful cut.
Bob was the director, the producer, and the driving force behind the emotional adaptation of his sister's story. Dana Delaney played Hope, a woman stricken with the disfiguring disease scleroderma, the same illness that took the life of Bob's sister, Gay.
How long do I have to live?
My sister went systemic, it went internal, and her organs, her esophagus deteriorated. She was on dialysis, and eventually all of her organs were deteriorating in her heart.